Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play.
Hello wonderful people, welcome back again to this YouTube channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet all of una according to una time. Welcome to Anointed Lady TV. If now your first time for this channel, you are highly welcome. Thank you very much for stopping by. To all my returning subscribers, I appreciate all of una for una massive support. Thank you very much for supporting this channel. May God richly bless you all in Jesus' name. Yes, so my correct people, this video will be say I want drop, so now me and you go they watch the video together, and after we don't watch everybody they entitled to their own opinion. Drop your opinion for the comment section, but drop the opinion without insult. Make we watch the video. Bye for now.
You see, the interesting thing is it's not just about, I mean, obviously what happened during the colonial era is horrific, but it goes beyond that, because obviously we saw France coming out this week, Macron in Kigali, essentially acknowledging that France could have done more during the Rwandan genocide to save more Tutsis. You know, in my country, for example, Nigeria, my tribe, the Igbos, were massacred during the Biafra war. And Britain famously did not lift a finger to help. Are we going to see more countries not just acknowledging their role in terms of colonialism and the brutalities there, but also in various sort of civil wars where some of these former colonial powers had interests and ended up looking the other way?
Well, that's a really good question. I mean, if we were to open the black box, the Pandora's box of the Cold War, and to look at the way that, for example, the Soviet Union, the United States governments supported proxy armies across Africa, contributing to great loss of life, you know, you could think about reparations and compensation there also.
Jonathan, let's just talk about how this all began, because Nigeria has clearly had some beef, if you will, for lack of a better word, with Twitter for some time. Obviously, the End SARS movement really grew thanks to Twitter. That's number one. Twitter actually chose Ghana as its headquarters instead of Nigeria. A lot of people regarded that as a snub. And now Twitter actually ended up deleting one of President Buhari's tweets just last week. Walk us through how this whole thing began.
Yeah, no, I think you're quite right. You've put your finger on the key issues there. I think the one is that Nigeria really was annoyed when in April Twitter set up its headquarters in Ghana, and of course, you know, Ghana is you know, many times smaller than Nigeria. It's about 30 million people compared with more than 200 million people. So it's much smaller, and yet because they're both English-speaking former British colonies, they kind of see themselves as real rivals in the region, and it annoyed, you know, a lot of Nigerians as well as the government that Twitter would put its regional headquarters in you know, a much smaller country, and the implication of that also being that Twitter was seeing, you know, Ghana as kind of more stable and a better regulatory environment. But the annoyance is also sort of deeply political. I think you mentioned the End SARS protests, which were, you know, this wave of protests in Lagos, which is the commercial capital, but across many other cities where young people came out protesting against police violence. And in fact, many of the young people who were protesting were the kind of, you know, sort of tech-savvy people who were spreading the protests on Twitter, but also the kinds of people who, you know, ideally would be working for Twitter. And they were saying that, you know, police would stop someone carrying a laptop and kind of rough them up and demand bribes.
Right.
So you have these protests that culminated in a massacre of you know, 12 people in Lagos.
Jonathan, let me just ask you this though. I mean, is this a case, just in terms of Buhari and his administration banning Twitter right now, is this a case of misplaced priorities? Because you think about some of the issues that Nigeria is dealing with right now. Insecurity. We've reported on the kidnappings, the banditry, the violence in certain parts of the country. And then you think about how quickly they responded to this, if only they could respond as quickly to some of the more pressing issues facing the country.
Yeah, exactly. So for a long time, people sort of rather disparagingly, you know, called President Buhari, you know, sort of go slow, just because, you know, it took him months after he first came in to even sort of form a government, to sort of set up his cabinet. He's been incredibly slow on issues like Boko Haram, and now Islamic State in the northeast of the country, and where these jihadists, have overrun an area, almost the size of Belgium in the northeast. You've got, incredible levels of violence across other parts of the country, and yet, the government has just been absolutely paralyzed, and at the same time has this incredibly thin skin. So, the moment that the president kind of took offense at Twitter deleting one of his tweets, he acted incredibly quickly, but has not been able to act on the really important, economic and security issues facing the country.
So what does this tell us about Buhari's leadership style? I mean, he was president roughly around the same time that I was born, and he was famous for the war against indiscipline. I remember back in the day there was the environmental sanitation days in Nigeria, where every last Saturday of the month you had to clean your house and make it look spick and span, and Buhari was one of the architects of that. So now with this Twitter ban, I mean, what does this tell you about his dictatorial style, if you will?
So this absolutely cuts to the kind of deepest concerns that people had before the election in 2015 when he won his first term, and that was, they were saying, here is a man who was a general, who was a military dictator back in the 1980s, and you can take the general out of his uniform, but can you take the uniform out of the general? And people were concerned that his previous bouts of dictatorialism, sort of beating people if they didn't queue up in orderly lines to board buses or keep the streets clean, they kind of wondered how this man would transition to being a Democrat. And in 2015 he said he was committed to democracy and pluralism and all of that, and yet you kind of scratch a little bit below the surface, and you see this real dictatorial streak coming out, where he just kind of wants to pass edicts and rule by, as if ordering soldiers around instead of being the president of a large democracy.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan, we have to leave it there.
Welcome back, my correct people. Thank you very much for watching. Yes, my wonderful people. Many people, they think, say, or Nigeria government, they think, say, waiting then they do for Nigeria. Say, foreigners not they see or not they know waiting they happen. Then they see them and they know. I not just understand, I don't know why they no want interfere for this katakata, for this killing wey be say it dey happen for that country where they call Nigeria. All right, my wonderful people, let me know what you think about this video at the comment section, because so many things wey be say then talk for this video, the thing will surprise me. Even things wey be say happen for EndSARS protest and many other things, they make measure of everything. Even the one way happen, the mass killing way happen for Anambra, they make measure of such thing again. Like, I really now understand, say, all these foreigners, they know wetin they happen for that country called Nigeria. Whether na fear and I made them no one interfere, whether na fear and I made them no one talk put to make sure say everything go well for Nigeria, I not really understand. Drop your opinion for the comment section. And if you find our video informative and you like what we do for this channel, I beg kindly smash on that subscribe button, put on the notification bell so that you will be the first person to notify anytime we drop a new video. See you again in my next video. From me to you, I say bye for now.